Today's episode, we are exposing you to all things leadership.
First ways that I feel like I've grown as a leader is I now have that MJ mentality. If you're not hitting that standard, if you're not exceeding the standard that we set, it's not the place for you.
I've had to learn that leadership is not a popularity contest. Leading people is making the best decision for the entire organization. If you're a great leader, they definitely will do that. Understanding that leadership is not a popularity contest.
If we want the company to succeed, we need to build leaders. Only hire top talent. Cheapest person never allowed us the time freedom. Cheapest person, they can't make decisions. Why do you think people need to be intentional about the culture they build within their business?
Today's episode, we're reflecting on our leadership journey. Let's get exposed. Welcome to another edition of the Expose and Expand podcast show. I'm the man with the plan, Jeremy Mathis.
I'm Joshua, and I'm going to give you the game, Mathis. And welcome to another edition of the Expose and Expand podcast show, where we expose you to the ideas, the strategies, the struggles, the failures, the people, and the experiences that have gotten us from zero to millions.
Guys, in today's episode, we are exposing you to all things leadership. What Josh and I have done is we've reflected on our leadership journey over our extensive entrepreneurial career, and we've asked ourselves, what can we tell people about leadership that's going to help them grow? And we thought the best thing that we could do is each come up with 3 areas where we've had to improve our leadership of our team within our company, our leadership of all things in business. So in today's episode, we're reflecting on our leadership journey. We're looking forward to it. Let's get exposed.
And guys, as always, man, we're looking to grow the show, so we would love your support. Please, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on any of the podcast players, please be sure to hit that follow button and leave us a 5-star review.
Yes, guys. So today we're talking about leadership. And again, we're reflecting on our leadership journey over our entrepreneurial career. Josh has come up with 3 areas where he believes he needed to grow as a leader, or where he's grown as a leader. And I've come up with 3 things of areas where I've had to grow as a leader since we've been running companies and having employees and running teams and managing contractors and doing everything revolving leadership.
Now, this is a conversation that I'm truly grateful and happy to have. And this morning, you talked about this, but as we shoot, the day we shot this, or the day we're shooting this morning, one of our students in our coaching program called me, and he was like, yeah, man, I'm looking to hire an acquisitions manager. And he's telling me about the person who he's thinking about hiring. So he was like, yeah, it's a kid out of college. He's trying to make some side money. And I was like, that's the person you don't want to hire. And I remember when we first started, those were the people we wanted to hire because it was cheap. It was cheap, and it was someone that we can just easily onboard, or thought we could easily onboard and get them going. But we quickly learned that is not the way to go. So as we sit here talking about it, I think about that story and like the advice that I gave him on what to do and how to handle it. And I'm like, man, we've grown so much as leaders, because I remember we was there 6-7 years ago when we started hiring people.
Yeah. And guys, so just to be clear, when we talk about leadership, we're just talking about how we run the organization and how we manage our team. So I want to make that very, very clear. So you jump off the porch.
So for me, man, one of the first ways that I feel like I've grown as a leader is I now have that MJ mentality. I now have that MJ mentality. And if you guys watch The Last Dance on Netflix, MJ's mentality is, hey, I'm going to come in, I'm going to set the bar high, I'm going to set the expectations high. And in order to be a part of this team and in order to be a part of this organization, you have to either meet or exceed the standard that I've set. And for us, and I see it in both of us, and that's one way that I know we've grown as leaders. And it's no more feelings. It's no more, thinking about people and making emotional decisions. Now is, what is the best decision for the organization? The best decision for the organization will win. If you're not hitting that standard, if you're not exceeding the standard that we set, it's not the place for you.
Yes, great first point. I think we both have grown as leaders in that regard, because we always had a standard that me and you upheld ourselves to, but we didn't do a good job of upholding the team to that standard. We allowed the organization to go down to the standards that our employees have set. because of whatever reason, right? And now we've learned that we're the people that set the standard here, and you cannot go below it. And just so much, just learning from that experience has been a beautiful thing for me, because I just see how mature we've become through that, how we've had to evolve through that, and just saying, so leadership is not a popularity contest. And that's really my first point. And I know you want to add more to yours, but
Nah, go ahead.
Just segueing right into my first point, and with Josh talking about how we both have had to learn how to set the standard when it comes to being leaders. For me, I've had to learn that leadership is not a popularity contest. Growing up, I've said this on a couple other episodes, I'm so used to being liked and loved that I wanted that from the employees that we hired within the organization. I wanted that from the contractors that we've had to manage, and everything, and the other people that we've had to oversee and lead within our journey. And I realized I'm going about this the wrong way. This is not the right way to run an organization, to lead people. Leading people is making the best decision for the entire organization and getting people to buy into that decision. And if you're a great leader, they definitely will do that. So my first thing that we've had to grow as leaders is understanding that leadership is not a popularity contest.
Got you. No, I like that. And for us, I can sit here as I think about our journey as leaders and running different companies. Early on, it was a popularity contest. We wanted to be liked. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, where did that come from? And it was just always, man, everybody rock with the Twins. Everybody fuck with the Twins. We never, I don't remember a time where we was ever disliked, But it's also because we always overextended ourselves as well. So now it's just, hey, it's for the greater good of the organization. So my question for you is, now that we have that MJ mentality, now that and again, guys, we're not 100% there, but I know we've gotten way better. But my question for you is, now that we have that MJ mentality, now that we understand that leadership is not a popularity contest, like, what happened to you or to us, you think, to say, hey, you know what, we have to change?
I think you asked me what happened to us that made us change and become better leaders and not lead in a popularity contest, but was doing for the best for the organization. I think that was what happened was we just got tired of being tired, which we talked about before, but we got into a place of, I'm trying to figure out the best way to describe it. It wasn't a good place. And meaning in the business started to go left and right. Things wasn't going good for us. And when we needed to count on our team, we couldn't count on them because we kept asking them to help us out. And I started to realize then that, dang, the team that we've assembled isn't the team that's going to take us through this turbulence that we've encountered. And at that point, I started realizing, you know what, man, moving forward, I got to build a team that's operating on my standard. Because if we would have built a team of people that operated at our standard, we would have been able to weather that storm a lot better. We got through it, but we got through it without them. Yeah. We got to the other side without them. Yeah. And that has nothing to do with them. That has everything to do with us and how we led them. Correct. So I think for us, and what made us change and start living at that standard is realizing that when things went left, our team wasn't there with us.
So for the person that's watching this and they may be a little pushover, they may be, on the nice side, they may be what we were 5-6 years ago. How do they, lead effectively? How do they ensure that their leadership is not a popularity contest?
Well, first, let me start by saying you could be a great leader and still be a nice person. Correct. You can be a great leader and you can still be a nice person. But in being nice, you set metrics and you hold people accountable to that. You don't let people go below what you and them have agreed to. Now, when we're setting metrics for each other and for the entire organization, we all have buy-in. Is this something that we all can reach and accomplish? It's just something that you can do. And if they say yes, then you can still be a nice person. But if you ain't hitting your goals, you can't sit with us. Was that you can't sit with us? That saying that the young folks say?
What they say?
You can't sit with us.
That's what they say. What young folks you been around?
but yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
What about you?
Wait, what?
As far as our leadership journey, and I lost my train of thought. What's your?
Let me jump in the second point. So my second point, and another way that I feel like we have improved as leaders is we understand that if we want the company to succeed, we need to build leaders. If we want the company to succeed, if we want to hit all the goals that we've set, we need to build leaders. Before, we wasn't building leaders. We were having employees, and we was doing everything. We was making all of the decisions. And now we understand that if we want this business to grow, we shouldn't have to make all the decisions. We shouldn't be the ones coming up with all the solutions to the problems. Now we understand the importance of building leaders, and I think we've gotten better at focusing on building leaders.
You stole my second point. You got my first one. Now you got my second one. I think for this one we really in sync because we both. I think we reflect on how much we've grown as leaders. And as far as what you just said, as far as us being leaders and building more leaders, my second point was we never allowed our team to fail forward. As a leader, you put people in a position for them to fail forward, meaning they make a mistake, they grow, and they learn from it. We never did that because we never onboarded them correctly. We never gave them a path to success coming in, and we always had to be there holding their hand. And my second point ties right in with your second point. Yeah. And for me, but I'm asking myself, why do you think we never allowed our team to fail forward, and why do you think we never built leaders?
Because of who we are as people. We're go-givers, and we're natural problem solvers. So when the problem comes, our natural instinct is we need to solve it. And that's just who we are naturally as people. But now we understand that, hey, if I don't want to be on vacation with my family and the problem goes and my team doesn't know how to handle it because I've never trained them to handle those problems. I've never given them an opportunity to handle those problems and fail forward. And even if they don't make the quote unquote right decision, at least they know that they feel empowered to make the decision. And then those are learning opportunities there if they quote unquote make the wrong decision.
So me knowing you, me being your brother and being around you, I know certain things that you just said, but one thing that I want you to break down even more for people is empowering people to make a decision. Because so many people, they operate off fear, and they're scared to mess up. So if I'm a leader and I'm trying to figure out how to empower my team, how would you tell someone to do that?
I would let them make decisions. And I'll give you a perfect example, real life example. So we just hired Jose, our project manager. He's doing great, but I know that he's young. He's never led before. He's a young guy, and he's afraid to make mistakes. The reason he's afraid to make mistakes, now that I understand his situation in his past job, every time he made a mistake, he would get reprimanded. He would get yelled at, and for him, that was his way of operating. So now he was always scared to make a decision. But I've trained him, me and Lori, shout out to Lori, we've trained him to, every time he's had an issue, every time he comes to us, we say, hey, you make the decision. And then after he's made a decision and he's done something, we'll look at it and we'll say, hey, that was the right decision because of X, Y, and Z. Or, hey, we would not have made that decision because of X, Y, and Z. So it's just really allowing them to go ahead and make the decision.
Essentially, what you're saying, the way you empower somebody is when they come to you with a problem, you ask them for their feedback, and you kind of help them make their own decision. You kind of act as a therapist. Is that kind of how you see empowering employees and your teammates to make decisions?
Yeah. So if you came to me and you said, "Hey, Josh, what color should we paint the house?" I'll say, "Hey, you decide what color we should paint the house." And then you may ask me, okay, and I may ask you, hey, how do you plan on making that decision? Help me. I want you to logically think about how you're going to make that decision. And I'm still going to let you make the decision, but that allows me to minimize my costs or minimize any costs that could potentially go wrong from that decision that you make.
Yeah, got you. Okay. All right, so what's your third point as far as how we had to improve as leaders over our journey?
My third point is only hire top talent. Only hire top talent. And for us, for a long time, for the first 10 years in business, it was always we wanted to hire the cheapest person. And the cheapest person never allowed us the time freedom that we were actually seeking, because the cheapest person, they can't make decisions, right? The cheapest person probably isn't a leader, so you got to build them up to be a leader, right? So all the money that you think you're saving by hiring them, you're actually not, because you're taking so much time away from the things that you need to focus on to train them, train them and make sure that they're making the right decisions. But as you and I have learned, when you hire those A players, when you hire top talent, they're going to come in and, one, they're going to exceed your expectations. Two, they're going to come in and problem solve. Three, they're going to come in and give you ideas on how you can grow the business. They're going to come in and dissect the business and say, hey, we can do this, we can do that. Hey, why are you doing this? Hey, why we're spending $1,500 on a CRM system when we can actually spend $200? Those are what that top talent can come in and help you do.
I'm growing my company. I ain't got that much money. Top talent calls me, if I'm in South Florida, at least 80 to 100. I'm growing. How can I afford that?
There's different ways that you can afford it. One, you can put them on a performance plan, meaning, hey, I can pay you what you're worth, but you're going to pay yourself. So if you're a sales guy, I can't give you a 80K base. I can give you a 30K base, but the upside is on the commission. That's one way that you can afford them. Another way you can afford them is offering some type of equity plan. You can give them phantom equity, or you can just say, hey, if you hit certain amount of metrics, if you hit a certain goals, you'll get equity percentage in the business.
Got you. That's all good points. Got it. So you actually took my third. You actually took my third point. It's just like we really came in sync today. But this goes in line, because my third point really was setting the tone. The culture is set by the leader. Yeah. So just going in line with that is just really focusing on understanding that your culture is built by design. I mean, your culture is either built by design or built by default, and understanding the importance of culture. Yeah. So that's my third point of what we've had to grow as leaders, because we would always hear, culture is important. And I don't think we ever did a good job of really designing the culture that we wanted. It was just people would come in and see how we operated and see what we did, and they started to, and we built the culture that way. But really building a culture comes with over communicating, helping people understand what we do, why we do it, what our mission vision is, how we do the things that we do. Now you got to really verbalize that. And I don't think we've ever done that. So now, now as we continue to grow and as we build, we know that we're building the culture that we want to set. And the way that we're doing that is we have weekly Friday check-ins. The entire team has to be on that. And it's a 20-minute call where everybody has to come. What is your win, or what is a challenge that you overcame this week? And then at the end of it, we have little icebreakers, and we ask each other questions like, hey, what is something that nobody on the team would think that you would know? And we're building a culture of people feeling like they're a part of something, people feeling like they're a family. So as we were sitting here talking, I'm like, what is a good third point that it wasn't the same that was yours and as what you presented already, and that was it. Like, just make sure you are building your culture by design, because you don't want it built by default.
Yeah. Why do you think that it's important? Because some people may be where we were early on in the business. You don't need to build culture. Culture is not important. Like, why do you think people need to be intentional about the culture they build within their business?
Because if you're not intentional with it, then you're going to allow other people to bring their beliefs and to bring how they operate into your organization. It's just like with raising the kids. The kids know all my beliefs and everything that I think is right or wrong, because I'm intentional about telling them what's right and wrong. And it's the same thing within the organization. You got to be intentional about showing, leading by example. and also over communicating that. So I think it's very important that you verbalize that and you let it be known and you be intentional about the culture that you want to design, because if not, you could be allowing somebody else to design it for you and you don't know what you'll get at that point. What about you?
That's good. I think it goes back to what you said, because if you're not intentional about it, it's going to happen by default. And sometimes by default, most times it may not be what it is that you want. Most time it may be a culture of people showing up late, leaving early, people not hitting their metrics, people not, there's no camaraderie amongst the team, people not liking each other. And there's no way that you can win when that is what your organization looks like. And that's in anything in life, whether you have a sports team, whether you have a business. Culture is so important. We hear it all the time from my buddies who play in the professional sports. The locker room. The locker room is the culture. The locker room is the culture. And we have friends that play on championship teams, and we know what that locker room looks like from the conversations we've had with them. And we know friends who say, ain't no damn way we winning with this locker room, And that's in sports, and it's the same thing in business.
No, it's really all good points. All good points.
So one thing that I want to add as a bonus too, where I think that we've gotten better as business owners, we're not where we want to be, but I know we're not where we used to be, is we really put an emphasis on tracking our numbers. I'm not saying we're experts at it. I'm not saying we're the best at it, but early on in business, we was hustlers. We're just two guys from the street. We hustling. We hustling. Now it's just, hey, we're CEOs, and we're stepping into that CEO role, not only from the points that we've already said, but now us putting an emphasis on what's the numbers. We need the data.
But as far as the importance of that as leadership, how does knowing your numbers tie into leadership?
Because it allows you to be able to make decisions to set your team up for success. So I'll give you a perfect example. If I know if I'm running marketing, we're spending ad dollars, we're running 3 different ads. If I don't know my numbers, I don't know which ad is giving me the customer that I want. But if I'm running 3 different ads and I'm looking at my data, and let's say we're running 3 ads, but if I know my numbers, we'll see that, okay, one of the ads is outperforming all the other ads. So I may just cut those 2 ads and run it to the run ad that's bringing me all the traffic, so I can increase my lead flow. If I increase my lead flow, my team is happier because they get more opportunities to make more money.
Got you. So you're saying as a leader, knowing your numbers allows you to create opportunities for your team.
I mean, not that, and it allows you to create a predictable business. There's no guessing. People that don't succeed are in business is those that, they guess. But most of the A players, the Fortune 500 companies, they know their numbers. They know what's happening in their business. Down to the penny, down to, hey, we know, okay, we generate X amount of leads, we should get X amount of deals. We know if we get X amount of deals at an average deal profit, we know we should generate X in profit. So it's easier to scale the business that way.
Today has been a good lesson on leadership. I hope you guys have, I know you guys have learned a couple things that you probably want to avoid on your journey as you're leading teams, as you're managing people, as you are leveling up. And definitely leave us a comment of what you guys thought about this episode, because for us, I want to figure out, we want to figure out how we can give you different type of episodes like this one that is not often spoken about, but it needs to be spoken about, because these are things that you're going to have to understand and utilize as you grow in business. So any parting words?
That's it.
Guys, as always, we have our gentleman's agreement. Hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. If you are listening on audio platforms like Apple or Spotify, hit that follow button, leave us a 5-star review. And again, guys, expose someone to these episodes. Remember, exposure leads to expansion. Peace.
Expose and expand. Peace.